Good morning. Today is day 11 of my energy drink withdrawal program, so T-minus 19. It's Monday, May 6th, about 7:30 in the morning. Let me have a sip. Still good. Everything's going okay. Yesterday I didn't really feel too many urges to get a drink. This morning I had a little bit of a headache again, but sort of imperceptible. We'll have to see if that continues on. I had some pretty strong dreams last night. They were sort of bad dreams, but they were dreams, and I see that as a good sign that I'm getting good REM sleep. So I'm thinking that's a good thing. I finished this book, The World of Caffeine, yesterday. The last section was on Caffeine and Health, which I think is of most interest to people and to me. And the bottom line is they still don't know much about caffeine in terms of its good or bad properties. Let me just read a few sections, excerpts from it here. Okay, the first part is about caffeine in the body. Caffeine, and before caffeine was identified, coffee, tea, and chocolate have been said to cause, exacerbate, palliate, or cure an enormous variety of diseases, and have also been said to confer marvelous benefits, including increases in both intellectual and physical capacities. So they're basically just starting off by saying there are claims that it's very bad and it's very good. And the gist of the whole section is that no one has proven anything. Caffeine is like the air. You don't see it and usually hardly notice it, but it is there all the same. And it becomes part of you in a critical metabolic exchange that involves every cell in your body. Considering that the sensorium and biomass of the human race is virtually awash in caffeine, and has been besotted so for hundreds of years, and that an overwhelming majority of people in almost every nation, including young and old, healthy and infirm, rich and poor, has made the regular use of this psychoactive stimulant more popular than the habitual use of any other drug, what do we really know of caffeine? What do we know of what it is doing for us? Doing to us, even doing to our unborn children? The answer, as should become clear after reviewing the very impressive record of studies presented in the following chapters and the appendices, and evaluating both the findings and limitations of this research, is, quote, not nearly as much as we need to know. So I think that was a good summary of the remainder of this book, that there have been a lot of studies about caffeine, and we still don't really know much about it. And I mean, you can say it can't be too bad for you, since basically, as they're saying here, almost everyone on Earth is drinking significant amounts of it and have been doing so for hundreds of years. It's not as clear-cut as like cigarettes, which they know causes lung cancer, or alcohol, which they know will cause cirrhosis of the liver. It can't be that bad for you. Or at least according to this, and it sort of seems to make some sense to me. Let's see if there are any other. The thing about caffeine in children is interesting. By all accounts, exposure to caffeine begins early for most people, very early. More than 75% of infants tested exhibit detectable levels of caffeine in their blood at birth. So we start out, since many pregnant women drink coffee, we're born with a lot of caffeine in our system, and it continues throughout life. All right, so there's a lot of stuff about this. What else? Then the idea that caffeine helps you think clearer, that's another pretty basic thing. And some people are convinced that they can't think clearly or precisely without caffeine, while others say it makes them jittery and error prone. I think that's the basic two sides of the coin. Like, I find it makes me really want to do work, but I don't work as clearly as I want to when I'm drinking caffeine. Nevertheless, overall scientific studies have confirmed some specific effects on cognition and learning. Caffeine improves the performance of simple, familiar, routine tasks, and it impairs or fails to affect the accomplishment of complex, novel, unpracticed tasks. Perhaps the reason for this difference is that by conferring extra energy, caffeine causes a person to work more quickly, but possibly less carefully. I sort of agree with that. Okay, let's see. I'm sort of reading quotes this time instead of summarizing. But then the final thing is about caffeine dependence, intoxication, and toxicity. There was a quote in here I wanted to read. Okay, the most common signs of caffeine intoxication are anxiety or nervousness, insomnia, gastrointestinal disturbances, irregular heartbeat, tremors, and psychomotor agitations. And those are, I think, things that I'm most concerned with, and I feel I have. The anxiety or nervousness, that's one reason I definitely want to quit caffeine. Insomnia, I feel like these energy drinks are messing up my sleep cycle, and that's another reason I definitely want to quit. And the third one that I haven't mentioned yet is gastrointestinal disturbances. I have acid reflux, and I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact that the caffeine is making it worse, and I have to take something called Prilosec for it, or Zantac, or just antacids. So those are the three main ones that they're talking about for caffeine intoxication that I definitely feel. Okay, so I finished this book. I would definitely recommend this book, The World of Caffeine by Weinberg and Beeler. And I may just try to let this sink in for a while before I start my next book. Maybe tomorrow just summarize it again, because I've been sort of rushing through it. And try to get a broader picture. Also, as I've said, this book was written in 2001, sort of a quiet period in the history of caffeine, and it was time to write a nice history of it, of coffee, chocolate, and tea. And the past decade has seen an explosion in the world of caffeine in our world, and how this drug is being delivered to people, specifically through these energy drinks. Okay, I think that's saying that time's up for this section. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you tomorrow.